welcome to Reasonably Tactical. I know it's been a while, but there's good reason.
So yeah, it's definitely been a while. Appreciate, everybody hasn't given up on us. People have reached out like, hey dude, when are you doing another episode? And just been crazy busy. Started off about a month ago, unbeknownst to most people. And when I tell them, they usually like jaw drop. Like, I have a real job. Like it's crazy. I have a real job, like everybody's like, oh, he does the part-time police thing. He's retired Army and, he helps out at the high school. And it's like, well, I do have a real job. I think it's people are so used to seeing me in gym clothes.
Right.
They just assume like, that guy's living the life. And like,
well,
no,
it's
I really work.
It's also the text from you on your boat too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It doesn't help sell the story that you actually work. But
it's like 1 PM and people are like, I wonder what Marty's doing. And they get the text of me sitting on the boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, what are you guys up to?
Well, let's talk about that some more. Let's talk about your actual full-time job and what you do beyond being a good member of the community.
Well, I work for a great company. It's called Rigid Tactical, based out of Virginia Beach, and fortunate enough to remote work, but it still requires some travel. Most of my days, start early because it's East Coast time, or we got people around, so it's fitting their schedules, and so it's a lot of phone calls, video conferences, and then a whole lot of reading and typing. So it's nothing too exciting, but there is still some travel. Hence going down to SOFWEEK. Went down to SOFWEEK, which is my first time down there. I was supposed to go a couple times when I was active duty and never made it down.
Wait a minute. How long have you been involved with Rigid Tactical, though?
Just over a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even before, so even as a active duty, you could still go, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So do they have like breakout sessions and things?
Oh, yeah.
Something?
So it's the big who's who convention for special operations, not just in the U.S., but internationally. So all our partners are there, and it's companies from all over the world that, provide training, provide equipment. You talk about equipment, everything from uniforms to drones to, submarine drones. It was crazy the stuff they had on display there,
Wait a minute, submarine drone.
Oh, yeah,
I got to
man.
see this now. Tell me.
All kinds of crazy stuff, and most of it was right over my head, man. We got a maritime guy that he explains all that stuff to me. I'm just like, it's a boat. It goes in the water. And he's like, yes, Marty. Taps me on the head. Like, bless your heart. It is a boat.
Yes.
But it was great because also just walking through. Guys I haven't seen in years, kind of reunion type thing where it was
so cool.
We'd get there around 10, 11 in the morning just because we knew within the first 10, 15 minutes we were going to run into somebody, and we'd inevitably end up at a restaurant having a drink, talk business, and that's why they hired me, to develop business. And all in all, great trip. Got to see a lot of new gadgets. Some were like, wow, I wish I would have had this 20 years ago. Some I was like,
all right, let's talk about this. What was the coolest thing that you can talk about? Because keyword, talk about. I did actually look up the rules for this place, and there's a lot that we can't talk about, unfortunately. But I'll see, what can you talk about that you thought was the coolest thing?
Well, like the coolest thing to watch, but completely unpractical, was the jetpack guys. We got, we just sat down to lunch, and we hear this high-pitched buzzing. We're like, what the hell is that noise? And it's, you've seen the videos of that. It's a British company, and they do this, but
oh my God,
it's man, you can hear that coming from miles away. It is so loud.
Can we get one for the show?
Yeah,
like seriously,
they're like
this.
$500,000, man.
That's it.
and the technology isn't there yet. It's like these
Wait,
guys are,
let me get this straight. So you spent $500,000 to explode, possibly, or crash right to the earth.
Well, it's like there's a weight limit on it. There's a short flight duration. It's super loud, so like it's cool to watch, and it's cool that see them go flying by, and it's like, wow, man, that's pretty awesome. But it's like, when would you ever use that? It's too loud. It's the packs are hooked on their hands, so you can't shoot. So if somebody's shooting up at you, you got to land, grab your rifle, and
hang on a sec. Let me parachute.
Time out. And it's. It was cool to see, like I'm not gonna lie, it was super cool to see, super cool to watch. But I was like, yeah, man, I definitely would not want that, going into a gunfight.
But that is cool though.
It was super cool.
Now I'm gonna have these like fantasies about this jetpack, and
you go online and Google it, and there's tons of videos of these things. And like I said, it's super cool, man. And but technology's not there yet.
Did you pick up any fans for the show while we were there? Yeah, that's a better question.
Actually, there were a few guys that had seen it, we share it out on LinkedIn, and I have my chain of people that I send it out to. So, and got to the best part was getting to see old buddies that I hadn't seen in years. So
That's cool.
You know, and then catch up and because it is a small community. Like at the end of the day, it is like because we'd be out with one other company talking work, and then 5 minutes later we run into somebody else, and they'd be going to be with them, and everybody knows everybody.
It's
you know,
great.
it's a really small community in the grand scheme of things. So
So I'm sure that people share a lot of the themes and feelings that you have that we've discussed here on the show, you know, about leadership and things like that, and how to just be as good as you can be.
That's the biggest thing is, you know, just always seek that improvement, always try to get better, always make situations better. And the big thing is like, you know, just don't be a D-bag, man. You know, like, and that's, you know, kind of segues into our next portion.
You can just say it. You can just say it. Don't be a douche. I think
don't be a douche, man.
Yeah, I think
you know, like,
I'm going to stop you there. We got to talk to our guy and see if he can make us a reasonably tactical "Don't be a douche" T-shirt. Because I would so be down with that. I would so put that on my Jeep. It would be great if we have a bumper sticker like that.
You know, and we've said this almost every episode. That bottom line up front, just be a good person, man, and do what's right, whether it's in your personal life or at work. And too often we see people like just go out of their way in both work and personal life and just utter D-bags, man. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, what, like, dude, what are you doing? You know, perfect example for like personal life. Everybody's been through a breakup, man. It sucks. You know, I've been through a divorce. You know, like, hey, get over it. It's over.
Right.
Like, don't hold on. Don't be a creepster. Don't be a stalker. Like, just don't be a douchebag, man.
Yep.
Like, you know, like that's just in regular personal life an example. Then, you know, in every line of work, you have those lazy D-bags. I don't care if you're, you know, flipping burgers at McDonald's in the corporate world. You know, no matter what line of work, you have those guys that are just going to do the bare minimum to get over.
Were you ever in the food service industry?
Yeah, in high school.
You know exactly.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
You know,
Continue, please.
But what it really bothers me is when it comes to job fields where, like, life and death decisions, you know, and, you know, it killed me in the military. And fortunately, where I was in the military, guys like that usually got flushed out and would either, if they did slip through the cracks and end up making it to a team, they wouldn't last the team long. They'd be pushed, you know, somewhere else in, you know, some staff position where, you know, to at least mitigate the potential disaster they could create. And I see it in law enforcement, man, and it's terrible. You know, it's terrible. And it goes back to the conversations we've had about people not responding to calls, you know, choosing not to, and, you know, especially rescue calls and, you know, but any call. Like if you have taken that oath, whether it's law enforcement, military, medical field, and you're supposed to serve and protect, get off your butt out of your office and do your damn job. You know, if you think it's acceptable when you have a threat call or a harassment call to call the victim instead of showing up there, you're in the wrong line of business. Yeah. And just as a CYA thing for you, you show up there, you can see the emotions this person's having. So you can kind of judge, is this person full of crap? Or, oh my God, this person is scared out of their mind, and it's documented on your body camera. And that way, you know, when you do your report, you can say, hey, reference this. Look what this shows. Right. But when you're a lazy D-bag that sits at the office and tries being a police officer from the office, you know, there's no excuse for you.
I have a good friend who does watch the show. So, hey, Shaw, I know you're watching. So this is for you, buddy. He was helping out a good friend who is now his partner and life partner, so to speak. And she had some issues with her kids. And he said right away, he says, listen, do me a favor. Put a FOIA out there and get the footage, the camera footage, because you need to defend your child when they came on scene, because there was an altercation at a school. And he said the thing was, again, I will say it, shitty work that somebody did, bad documentation, and it didn't match up to what was in the official report, and it didn't match up to what was in the school's report. So you had the school that was derelict in their responsibility. You had the police department that was in theirs. And here's Carl. He said, I was able to pull it. I saw the footage. He goes, no 3 stories matched up.
Of course. Yeah. And that's, you know, that's, unfortunately, that's a matter of life. You ask 5 people to tell you what happened during a scene, you're going to get 10 different answers.
Of course.
You know, like, so there's always that variable. But when it comes to like law enforcement documentation, That's why body cameras are amazing. You can go back and watch it. You know, you can go back and be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh wait, that's what actually happened. And that way it covers your butt so you can, you know, report truthfully. But so many people cut corners, don't turn their body cameras on because it's stupid. Like, you're a moron. You're a moron if you think your body camera's
I can't think of how many people got exonerated from body cam footage.
You know,
it's like
it's
it
crazy.
actually works for your advantage
it's for your
in a lot of
advantage.
ways. Yeah.
It's definitely kept me out of trouble before where it's like, no, watch the footage. Watch the footage, you know. And that's where it ties into leadership. You know, if you're in a supervisor or leadership role, once again, no matter what line of work you're in, and you have people cutting corners, fix it. Otherwise, you're just as big as a D-bag. You know, especially, once again, if you're in something where it's life or death situations, medical, law enforcement, military, if you're that leader that just idly watches, you're just as guilty as the people doing it. And that's where I see a lot, you know, like, one thing, it's a double-edged sword. So one thing that's good about the academies for law enforcement here is you get leadership that come and teach. And you get some that'll come teach one specific type of class, and that's their niche thing. And it's appreciated because they're giving back. Plus, they get to interact with the other agencies in the area and the future, you know, officers that'll be on the street. So there is a benefit to it. But you have other leaders that spend all their time, so they're double dipping. You know, and they're never at their office.
Right.
So how can you tell me you know what's going on in your office? You're a D-bag, dude.
Yeah.
And you have no idea what's going on a daily basis.
And, you know, it's funny you say that, too, because I encounter that in martial arts and in hand-to-hand combat training and things like that with different schools that students will bring to me. They'll be like, hey, did you see this video online? Hey, did you check this out? This looked really cool. And I'll look at the technique, and I'll just facepalm. I'll be like,
that's okay, Hollywood. Straight
it's
Hollywood.
Yeah. Like, this is all done in such a controlled environment.
Right.
Could it work? Yeah, sure. But there's a way Master George used to say something called, he says, this isn't science fiction. We're not teaching science fiction here. And that was the beauty of what kept me into Krav Maga through Alpha Krav Maga and the way that they did it. They took out a lot of the diluted stuff that, oh, well, you have to train this way.
Where it's
so
choreographed.
Where it's choreographed.
No, you have to, you know, the Rex Kwon Do. No, grab me here. No,
yes, exactly.
You know, and you're like, all right, dude, stop.
Right. And so along those lines, we've got a group of students that are getting ready for testing in October. The thing is that it's between September and October. That's what I was told from Alpha. And they're like, hey, guys, we're going to do the next batch. I said, that's great. I'm excited. Our students are excited. We're going to do this. And I told them, I said, okay, here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to do it with you. And they looked at me and they said, what? I said, I'm not doing the testing with you because that would be wrong. They're probably going to have me there watching, but I'm going to train side by side with you guys until you guys go into testing because I have a motto. I practice what I teach. Yeah. And literally in every sense of the word, I don't like to show somebody something that I can't do myself. That's bull.
Right. And that leads into like the biggest D-bag is the tactical fools, man. And, you know, there's so much cool guy stuff out there. You know, you can go online and Google any pouch kit and every airsoft. I'm
trying not to die crying because,
you know, like it's.
He did some really cool stuff, which is another reason why the episode got delayed. And he was doing some training. So where does my mind first go as somebody that does editing is, oh, hey, let's make a sizzle reel. And I'm like, the gunshots aren't fast enough. Maybe we speed it up. I took everything and threw it right off the timeline because I immediately thought of being like one of those tactical douchebags that you see. And I don't want any of your video and your quality training to have been thrown out the window. So Marty walks in and I feel terrible because I just am like, hey, you know that video you asked me to work on? Yeah, well, it didn't get done because I deleted all of it.
And I was like, oh, no, you deleted it. Like, no, that's not what I meant.
Yes.
People they know what they know, and you have so many of these, you know, vendors will label something, you know, soft tested, soft used, SWAT tested, and it's like you have to be careful of the verbiage. Right. Yes, we might have tested it, but it got thrown out because it was crap. You know, like it was. I think way back in the day, you know, early on in the war, where vendors would just send us stuff. I mean, we would get tough boxes just full of stuff from, you know, every type of, you know, Black Hawk. Tactical Tailor, like Safari Land, all these different things where hey, go test it out. And then some of it we were like, hey, could we get a couple more of these?
Right.
Other it went back in the tough box and we never touched again. We always appreciate it because then we got to test it out. Flashlights, especially when Surefire was first coming out, they would send us stuff to test. And we found what worked and what didn't. Well, now that some of these things didn't get adopted, they're marketing it to law enforcement or the civilian world. And they're like, oh, soft tested, special operations tested.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, we never used it because it was crap. But you get these, yahoos walking around with this stuff. Or they Google, Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
And so they're wearing stuff that they don't even know what the use is for or the method to madness. And one of the things, man, this was killing me. And this is a guy that he just, I think about him and it just makes me go, oh, bless his heart. This is a guy, I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to hurt any feelings. But he's wearing an aircraft lanyard.
Okay.
So an aircraft lanyard, you see those rigger belts that have the little loop on it. You hook it to there, and then when you get on the helicopter, you tie in to the helicopter. So your door is open, your feet are hanging out. You don't fall out when it banks. When you're, a minute out, you unhook because you're on that final approach. You clip it back onto your belt, and it's out of your way. It's literally a safety thing. We used it a lot for fast roping because then, minute out, unhook, we're set, rope goes out. What we would do back in the day when we started the 14.5-inch rifles, we would loop the lanyard around it to keep it close to our body. Okay. And then we'd slide down, pull the rifle out, and go back to doing whatever we were doing. Well, this guy's wearing it, and I'm like, dude, why do you have that on? I'm like, there's not a single law enforcement agency in the state of Wisconsin with aircraft. Why are you wearing that? It's for weapon retention. I'm like, what? Like 2-point sling, dude. Once again, you're not fast roping. Right. Why do you need? And the jaw you look like a beat, wet puppy. The fact that I dude, take that off. I was like, take it off, man. All it's gonna do is catch on stuff.
Right.
And Marty's being mean. Oh God, end of my world because he said that my piece of equipment I'm wearing makes me look like a d-bag. It's like, come on, man, don't be that guy. It's one thing if that's your airsoft thing you wear on the weekends and you're posing for your pictures for your Instagram accounts or Reddit, whatever. Got it, man. It's still...
Don't even get me started on the guys on Reddit. Please don't.
Whatever, man. Whatever your hobby is on the weekend, don't care. You're the same as the LARPers. Cool, dude. You have your thing you do. You enjoy it. I don't judge. But if you're using this for real work, you're a D-bag, man. If you think, because you looked at a picture and, I can use this for this. You're a D-bag that doesn't know what you're doing. So, do your research. And the biggest thing, and you see the way my stuff's set up when we go to the range, less is more.
Right.
You don't have to have a pouch on every inch of your equipment. Less is more, man. All you need is the minimum of what you need. Some mag pouches, a first aid kit, a tourniquet, your pistol. That's it. And then on your kit, some mag pouches, a radio pouch. Right. That's it. Something for water, maybe. It's but you get these guys that they're the coolest people they know. They'll tell you. They will tell you how cool they are. It just blows my mind, man.
Well, we did see some cool people. I mean, that was part of what we were talking about with the supplementary video that we're going to be putting out soon, was that you had the opportunity to be working with some enlistees.
Yeah. So we had, I was actually auctioned off at a dinner a couple months ago for some range time. And
wait a minute, that's how that happened.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, what's this getting me into? But no, it was for range time. And this nice young lady, she had a nephew that was enlisting, so she bid on it and then won. And talked to her after the auction, and she said her nephew's enlisting and would like to get him some time on the range. And so him and his brother came out, and we had a great time. We spent 3.5 hours out there, did everything from iron sight zeroing to shooting different short barrels versus SPRs, and then some pistol work. And amazingly, they were awesome with a pistol. Usually that's people's
that was the thing that threw me, because
yeah.
I was there with them. I was getting some of the footage and everything, and also taking notes for myself on how to become more proficient and better. I told you this whole tactical thing. Yeah, I don't want to be that guy. I want to be practical.
We're breaking you of it. Yeah.
Yes, you are. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah. What did that start with? Disowning me, my SIG and everything?
Yeah, exactly. You got
kidding.
the Glock now, so.
Yeah, it's several now at this point. But no, the thing is that watching you work with these guys, and it was like they were so proficient at that pistol because you could tell that's what they trained. Even though when they're going to go in, they're going to probably be using their rifle more. It was very valuable to them, and it was good. And again, supplementary video coming soon. You will see it, and you'll get some good tips from Marty on that as well.
Yeah, and it's the biggest thing is like keep it simple. We started classes yesterday out at Rock County Rifle and Pistol Club, and that's my thing is you see these online gurus who tell you they're the greatest thing ever, and it's because they took some online classes or, years ago they became a concealed carry instructor, and that's all they've done besides online training. They have no actual tactical background. Right. They do some static, whoop-de-doo competitions on the weekends at their local club, but that's the extent of their knowledge. And they teach horrible habits. And that's where I was like seeing that stuff going on at the range. I'm like, no, man, like I want to be part of the solution and teach people a better way. And not the right way, because I don't think there is a right way to shoot. It's whatever works for you, but a better way that makes them more proficient, makes them safer for themselves and others around. Because if I'm shooting next to them, I don't want them to shoot me.
Well, and that was the thing with yesterday. I will say, we had the one guy remain totally nameless. He had a weapon that he was using for the very first time, and
he wasn't comfortable with it. He wasn't comfortable with it. Yeah.
And what was interesting is that I was the acting RSO with another gentleman who was my lead, and I was following him, and we both look at each other after the first two shots, and we move our positioning away from his right side because he's doing like this Cagney and Lacey style draw.
Yeah,
but it was
call
great.
It the Charlie's Angels.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was good to see the way that you broke him though over the course, and then he became quite proficient with the weapon.
Yeah, once
I
we
was
started
very
doing some
happy.
moving and stuff, I was like, it clicked.
Yeah.
It clicked. It was,
and that's the point.
And it's just breaking people those bad habits that they learn over years, and that's why it's so important when you sign up for a class, know the person's background, and that's why, like on our website, I make sure my biography's on there so people know what they're getting into, as opposed to, hey, I'm a this certified and this certified instructor, and like, well, that's great, but what application do you actually have? When have you actually used this for real?
Right.
And if you're a competition shooter, awesome. You do I've trained with competitive shooters who they will outshoot me any day of the week.
But is it practical?
Exactly. Yeah. It's can they implement some of those same fundamentals into combat marksmanship, and vice versa? And there is an overlap. There's definitely an overlap. Fundamentals are fundamentals, no matter what you're doing. But they don't try to sell it as something that they're not.
Correct.
Versus some of these guys that do the weekend only at their local club because they're only allowed certain ways to shoot and certain parameters are put in so to make sure they win. And you get them outside of that and things start happening. And you could just tell by the way people hold their weapons and stuff. They've been taught some really sloppy techniques and just trying to make people better and correct some of those things.
And, and that's the thing, too. When you're dealing with weapons, you're dealing with something that has a lot of repercussions within proper use.
Once that trigger's pulled, you can't pull that round back, man. There's no pulling that shot back. So there's a huge responsibility.
All right. So, Marty, take us off, buddy. What are your next classes that you're teaching so people could learn from the guru himself?
Definitely not a guru.
No. Okay, let me rephrase. Who's not a douchebag? If you want to learn from not a douchebag, go to www.notadouchebag.com, #Marty, and then you'll find. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. What's your next one?
So we got this upcoming Sunday. We have rifle class. Next Sunday we'll have combo pistol rifle. And the way that the courses are designed is to build upon each other. So we start with pistol, flush out some of the bad habits. Rifle's a little more forgiving. So we do that, get a little more movement going on. And then when we get to the combo, we're moving and shooting the whole time.
Oh, so that's going to be my sizzle reel then.
Yeah, exactly. But trying to build a decent community in the area of people that can handle themselves and handle a firearm in a safe manner, and no matter what they're shooting, no matter what optic they have, when they pull that trigger, it's going to be a hit.
And that's great. And you know what? I want to give a shout out to Jim. because Jim has really been awesome over there. Jim, we love you. We know you're a fan of the show, and we know more importantly, you're a fan of us and what each one of us brings with our specialties to the table. So thank you for giving us a venue to help us help other people in our respective categories.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll be doing a lot more broadcasts now.
Yes.
Sorry, it's been a little lull, but real life got in the way, so it's
all good.
I gotta take care of that. But we'll definitely be putting more out, and look forward to seeing everybody again.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Have a good one.